How you doing? It's Key Norfolk. We back. I got Coach Wilson, and you're actually the founder of Brothers Helping Brothers. Is that correct, Coach Wilson?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I sure am.
Yes.
Yep.
I love to have Coach Wilson. He's doing some great things with Brothers Helping Brothers. And again, we're speaking on gun violence in our communities across America. So, Coach Wilson, I'm going to step back, give you the floor, let you introduce yourself, and let you give your take on the issue.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank you for everything that you're doing, being a positive Black man and helping out in your community in whatever way that you can. That's so admirable. And we definitely need more brothers like you out here in the community. And I'm just really honored and appreciative that you would see fit to even allow me to come on to your program. So, I'm humbled and thank you so very much for having me. Um,
Sir, you
I'm
more
gonna
than
kind of
welcome.
rewind it back a little bit if you don't mind,
Okay.
but um, I just want to tell everybody what Brothers Helping Brothers is about. This is an organization that I founded, and the reason why I founded this organization is because many times as men, you know, um, we have conflict with our sons.
Yes, sir.
And, you can call it rebellion, you can call it whatever you want, but it happens and it happens quite frequently. And so I just kind of decided that I would do something about it. I had conflict with my father. Some of my sons had conflict with me. And what I noticed is that, as a father, you're going to be in your son's ear.
Right.
And as a young man, after a while, you're going to turn your father off.
Yes,
It's
sir.
going to be in one ear and out the other.
Right out there. I
And,
agree.
you know, I just thought, why fight it? Right? Why fight it? What kept me straight was I had a few good brothers that helped me along the way. I had a few good brothers that I didn't see all the time. I had a few good brothers that I clicked with. And in essence, they told me a lot of things that my father would tell me, but because it was coming from them, fortunately or unfortunately, I would listen to it.
Right.
And so that is at the crux of how this organization got started. Our motto here is we're one brother helps another brother along the way. And that's exactly what you're doing, Key, with this podcast. That's exactly what you're doing in your community. You're helping other brothers along the way. And that's all we can ask is that you help somebody else, along the way.
Yes,
And
sir.
so this organization has grown, Brothers Helping Brothers. It grew from me just trying to help my sons to trying to help my nephews to trying to help my sons and my nephews' friends to just opening up to any and everybody. And that's how we started interacting. And I just wanted to fill the audience in on how we connected.
Oh,
And
yes,
so
sir. Most definitely.
we had a great conversation today, and we were talking about violence in our community. And I was listening to a previous episode that y'all had done
Yes, sir.
where one brother talked about people trying to get money, and that drives a lot of the violence. And another brother mentioned that in essence the new age hustlers is lazy. They don't want to hustle. They just want to wait till you hustle and take the money from you.
Right.
And I kind of see it a little bit differently. What I see it as, the problem is in our image. And, when you look at things that influence us as a people, us as young men, um, I'll tell you, one of the biggest influence, the biggest drivers of influence is music.
I agree.
It's music.
I agree.
And so, everything situates itself around music. And so then you got to step back and you got to take a look at the type of music. We as a people, we just bad with music. We do our thing with music, and it's the melody and the beat that hypnotize you, right?
I agree.
But when you start to study psychology and everything, you'll notice that you got two minds operating at the same time. You
Mm-hmm.
got your conscious mind is operating that might not even catch the words that's being said in the songs. You just mesmerized by the beat and the melody.
Right.
But your subconscious mind is picking up what's being said.
Right.
And so when you look at what's being said, it's talking about murdering, it's talking about debasing women,
Mm-hmm.
it's talking about um, using drugs,
Mm-hmm.
it's talking about being the baddest,
Right.
and showing people that you the baddest.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at that, that's what it's talking about. So let's step back again and let's take a look. This music is being bumped 24/7, and it's going deep into your subconscious mind to where it will change you, and I'm not above it.
Right.
In my day, although we still had rappers with a message, when I wanted to get rowdy, I started bumping NWA.
Right.
you
Right.
know, and I tell you what, I'm bumping NWA and I'm at the club and you bump into me, you gonna get an NWA. You feel me?
Right.
You gonna get an NWA.
Right.
And so it just has such a grip on us. And when when I do a lot of mentoring and coaching, and one of the things that I say to people that I mentor and coach is repetition is the mother of all learning.
Yes, sir. Yes, it
And
is.
repetition is conditioning, right?
Right.
So you're using the tool. So, like, if you want to um, achieve a goal, one of the things that you do is you write that goal down every day. You repeat that goal 50, 100 times a day. You put up images of that goal every day where you look at it. And what happens is subconsciously, you start drawing it to you.
Right.
You can
Law of
you
attraction.
condition. That's right, the law of attraction. You're conditioning yourself to bring that atmosphere to you. So
Mm.
let's look at what kind of atmosphere we bring into ourselves.
Mm. That's deep.
Just turn just turn on any of these go on YouTube and peep what your kids is watching, and you'll see what they drawing to them. Either they've been drawn to drug use, they've been drawn to debasing women, they've been drawn to um, being okay with shooting somebody, they've been drawn to violence by the most influential thing around them. And then the social media fills in the gap, and it supports the music, the social media, the videos, it all supports, that type of attitude. And so I think the problem is more so our image. We got to bump a more positive image. We got to take the same music and put a different rhyme to it.
Right. I agree. I
And
agree with
so that's my feelings about the subject. How do you feel about that?
you. I think you made some tremendous points because I believe that the number one thing is the music.
Mm-hmm,
I believe that, well, I believe, yeah, the number one thing is the music, because like you say, that subconscious mind. I believe my top three things would be the music,
mm-hmm,
the image slash ego, and number
mm-hmm.
three would be the drugs. So,
Right.
because they on new drugs now, and they not just doing one drug, they doing everything at one time. It's kind of crazy. Back in the
Yep.
day, we used to have crackheads. They would smoke crack, and then a crackhead would have um, a crackhead, characteristics of a
Right,
crackhead. Then you would have someone who smoked sherm. They would have, you know, a person who did sherm characteristics.
right,
Now you can't tell. Now they every
right.
yeah, it's kind of yeah, you can't tell
Yeah, you're
now.
right.
So
You you can't tell what they own. You
right,
can't tell what they
listen,
own.
I know that you more knowledgeable about a lot of things. I know you seen this thing from beginning to end, like you say, like from back in the NWA days to where the streets really started getting to this gangsterism. So I wanted to ask you a couple questions. Um,
Okay.
First, I wanted to ask you, first and foremost, I wanted to ask you, what do you think? What is your take on this being planned or this being the agenda for our people?
You know that was actually the next thing I was about to say if you didn't ask me that question. You
Yeah.
know, because this is this is orchestrated.
Yes.
Um, they only sing what's allowed.
Hmm.
And they're encouraged to promote that type of music. And
Right.
then conditioning. Have you ever noticed that, like, a song can come on that you don't like, but they play that song so much till you find yourself singing it, and next
Yes.
thing you know, you like it.
Yes. It's so
That's
many songs like
conditioning.
that. I agree.
That's conditioning, and that's orchestrated at very high levels. And the problem is we don't consider that. We just see it as music. We just see it as entertainment. There's a responsibility. So this is not a thing where this is just on the rappers. There's a responsibility with the parents.
Yeah.
To not let their children, especially their young children, to be bumping this into their head at such a young age, because when you're a youth, that's your formative years, which means your mind is developing. You're setting your mindset as when you're a youth, your mindset is developing.
Correct.
And if you grow up listening to some of this stuff, the way they're talking, and that's what you develop your mindset off of, you know um you're going to be in a bad situation.
I
And
agree.
so I definitely feel that this is orchestrated, and orchestrated at the highest levels, because we don't consider it. We don't say, "Oh, nah, that ain't going. That really can't happen." But
Right.
when you look at the impact that hip hop music has all over the world,
Hmm.
and prior to this current time, I would say probably about the 2000s and above, you know, not only did we have the gangster stuff, but we had the music with a message, the
Right.
music that inspired us to fight the powers that be.
Right.
You don't really
Right.
find that now. It's a couple artists, that's starting to bring it back. Probably the most well-known artist that's starting to bring that type of messaging back is Jay-Z. Um, he's probably the most well-known.
Yeah.
I don't really follow the rap scene as much and knowing the artist name, but I know
We
there's a
got your
couple of
J.
other ones
Cole.
too.
Got
J.
your J.
Cole, yeah.
Cole's. Yeah.
They're starting
Kendrick
to bring the
Lamar.
message back. That guy out of Chicago, um,
Um. hmm,
I can't think of his name. Young guy out of Chicago. He's doing some things. It's another rapper that has the TV show Atlanta. This is America.
Oh yeah, that's
Um,
Danny Glover's son. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He.
So
Yeah.
it's a couple artists that are starting to bring it back, where it's making it cool to talk about that type of stuff, and to talk about something other than just, murder, death, kill,
Right.
you know,
Sex, money, murder.
yep, sex, money, murder. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
So,
crazy.
I think that's really needed, because through our music, if you look all the way back to our history, you look, you know, let me back up. Our history in America, you know, um, in the enslavement portion, if you look at what we did with music then, it
Mm-hmm.
shows you the power of music. You know, we can't underestimate the power of music and how it can shape communities and shape minds.
Mm-hmm.
Just that music, you
Right.
know. And so I definitely feel that it's
Right. Yeah, I think it's playing too. You know, I think it's just a lot. You know, with
call it
the
back.
with the
I
guns,
have to take control of that.
dramas, you know what I mean? With the music, with everything that's on TV, with the
Hmm.
drugs, yeah, and these slogans and these campaigns they put on. You know, we live in a I like to say we went from a pop culture just not too long ago to a op culture. I say who moved the P? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You know, and they're making these children feel like they're stressed out or like they
Hmm.
got nothing to live for, and you can't talk to them because another slogan they have is say less. You know what I mean? So you get to
Right.
talking and trying to give a positive message. You talking too much to them. You know, they want you to show them something. And a lot of
Yeah.
times you might not be able to just show them something, positive. You know, I might not be able to get a young man a job right now. I may not be able to give him $1,000 or even $100. I might not be able to give him $10 right now. You know what I mean? A lot of times
Right.
I would have to have a conversation to see what's really needed or to see if I can let this young man know that, hey, what you think you need, you really don't need. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so I think that's something else that's hindering us on that topic too. So I'm definitely with you on it being planned for sure.
You know, just even working with our hands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that I notice is that young men like to be doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can get them involved in activities, you know, physical activities where they're actually, you know, doing something physically in their learning.
Right.
A lot of times when I mentor at the high schools, I start with money and work backwards. I
Right.
work backwards in school, you know,
Right.
but the conversation starts off talking about money, you know, because you got to give it context, you got to give it a purpose. You know, why do I need to learn this stuff? Why is this even beneficial to me?
Right.
You know, because a lot of times the way that it seems is one thing don't have nothing to do with the other. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so when I go into a high school and I'm mentoring, I'm doing working with a mentoring program and mentoring kids. I started off talking about money. We ain't talking about school. We talking about getting that money.
Good way to catch their
You know,
attention.
and then we work backwards to what role school plays in getting that money.
Right.
And so we just got to do things differently. Something else that I'll share with you. I'm a veteran. I spent about 25 years in the U.S. Army. Um, Lived in about 9 countries. Combat in about 3 different countries. And the last time I was in Iraq, one of the themes that used to go on, you know, I was blessed to make it into the senior ranks. But
Yeah.
one of the themes that used to often being stated was that we have to win the hearts and minds of the people.
Mm.
And some of the brothers in your previous broadcast, they kind of talked about this. They, you know, I'm just calling it something different. But for the longest time while I was there, I was like, win the hearts and the minds of the people. These people can't stand us. You
Right.
know, I didn't understand what they was talking about. But about 3 or 4 months into the country, you know, I'm looking and it just clicked with me. When they start talking about winning the hearts and minds of the people, they talking about winning the next generation.
Right.
So they got a long-term strategy. So, you know, the people when we was there, the people that was in their 30s and 40s and 50s and above, you know, they wasn't feeling us. maybe
Right.
even some of the ones in their 20s. But if we could, you know, shape the minds of the ones that's 10, 12, 13 years old, you know, you think we went into Iraq in 2003,
Mm.
2003, we went into
Yeah.
Iraq.
Oh,
If
three.
you start winning the hearts and minds of kids that are 13 years old, it's 2021.
Right.
Now
Right.
you talking about the people that's coming up to be in charge is now in their 30s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's
Those are the
in them.
ones that's gonna make the change. But
Right.
it's a long-term change. You know, the ones that's older now, you know, which some of the brothers were saying, you know, we lost a generation. I wouldn't take it that far. You know, it's going to be harder to reach, you know, the generation that, you know, he thinks that we lost. But, you know, there's only going to be some of them that's going to be open to change. Some of them that's going to want to change. And you got to work with the willing. You work with those ones that's open to change, that's willing to change. But the biggest key to set us up for success is the generation that's coming up next. You
Yes.
know, the ones that's between 10 and 14. That's the
I agree.
ones,
I agree. We got
you
to
know.
catch them now.
Yep. Or in essence, they'll be lost too, you
You
know.
sure right.
So
You sure
yep.
right about that. And speaking of, catching those children, because we can do what we can for young brothers, but at the same time, it's hard to you can't beat something into a grown person who in
Right.
love with what they doing. You know,
Right.
success.
It's a long process.
Right,
You know, it's not that they won't change and that they can't change. It's just that in order to change them, it's a long process and it's gonna be many ups and downs. Like they're gonna do right, then they're gonna do wrong. They're gonna do right, then they're gonna do wrong. Um, so it can be done, but it requires so much more work. You know, my
right.
mom is from Alabama, and she was talking to me the other day, and she gave me one of them sayings from my grandpa. You know, God rest his soul. She said, "You bend a tree while she said you bend a tree while it's a sap."
Mm,
And what she was
mm.
talking about, I don't know if you ever seen them trees where they
Oh
had
yeah.
the poles in the ground and the wires on the trees.
Oh yeah.
They're shaping the tree while it's young.
Right.
You know, if you go out and you look at some of these grown trees and they crooked, you can get them back straight, but it's gonna take hella work.
Yeah, you right. Hey man, oh man, you
It's
just
gonna take hella work. You
click
know,
the
it's
light
just like,
bulb
do you
on.
want to remodel your house or build a new one?
Right.
It's easier to build a new one than to remodel an old one.
Right. You build a new one, it go up 3 days. You can put one up. It's gonna take so much to remodel an old one because you gotta tear stuff down. You gotta
And then
clean
you got to
up.
rebuild it.
So I'm with you on that. Great point. Great point,
But it
Coach
can
Wilson.
be done. You know, I say all that to say it can be done, but you just got to recognize. Because I mentor some young men in their 20s that came from all the way on the outside, and it's a struggle. You know, I have to control myself because sometimes I get frustrated with their progress or their regression,
Right.
and so that's hard. But I try to always understand that it's a process. And so as long as they willing to work on it, it's going to be setbacks, but a setback is a setup. And so I keep dealing with them. Sometimes I had to cut them off for a little bit and give them some space, give myself some space. Then I re-engage. And like one of my biggest drivers with them um, is they're always tested.
Right.
Meaning, I'm not going to help you without you testing, without you showing that, you really want this. Because
Right.
that's one thing that you got to bring to the table.
You have to
You
show
have to
yourself
bring
approved.
desire.
So you self-approve, show how worthy you are, so how
Yep.
much you
You
want it.
got to bring that desire.
Right.
If you ain't got desire, it ain't nothing nobody can do for you. You got to have that desire to do more, do better, be better. And so one of the tests that I usually will use a lot is books.
Mm.
I'll give you a book in a minute,
Right. Right.
challenge you to read it, and then come back and have a discussion with me.
Right.
If you don't pick up the book, if you don't believe in yourself enough to spend $15 on a book that could
Right.
change your life and invest in yourself, hey, what you want me to do?
I agree with you 100%. We need more of that. You know, these kids, well, I ain't gonna call them kids because a lot of the people we talking about are 30 and 40-year-old men. So, I say if you got 15 minutes to, you know, read a magazine or watch a short film, of a series or something that's got a whole bunch of negative stuff in it, you should be able to take that same time, that same money, that same energy, that same interest to do something
Yep,
positive, and want to
that's
build
it.
your mind. So I'm with you on that, Coach Wilson, for sure. Most
Yep.
definitely. Um,
You had another question?
yes, I do. So next question is, what do you think some steps can be towards, if we can reach some of these individuals, what would you tell some of these individuals, specifically about um, how to hold themselves accountable and what steps, some of the steps should they take if they having a hard issue? Because I know, you're doing a great job with brothers helping brothers, and I know this the type of thing that you deal with all the time. So some of the things that they can do to kind of, shape their self or exercise their self in the right direction.
So your environment is key. Um, your environment is so key. A lot of times for us, we stay in the same environment. Even when you look at like sometimes people that are incarcerated
Right.
and then they get out and they're basically let back out, they're sent back to the same place that they just came from.
Mm,
And the deck is stacked against them.
right.
And so not only is it a harder battle, but they got the same temptations. They got the same issues. So your environment is so important. Um, I had a teacher in the sixth grade who told me, however your life is going and however, you don't feel good about where you at, you can go anywhere you want to in a book.
Mm,
I'm really a big proponent of pushing reading, because when you read, your imagination starts to flow. When you read, it works with your cognitive ability. It develops your intellect. It develops your ability to speak. It develops your ability to think when you read. So reading is so important. And a lot of times you'll find that some of the issues that we have is that we struggle with reading, but it's crucial. So if you can change your environment and, I brought up books because sometimes you might feel like, hey, I can't change my environment. I'm where I'm at. This is all, I can afford to be, I don't have no means to get in another environment, but you
right.
do have a means to pick up a book. I
Right.
got a library card. This books in the library for free.
Right.
So you still have the ability to change your environment, vis-a-vis a book.
Free your mind.
You exactly,
Yeah.
because your mind can go places that your body can't.
Right.
And so changing your environment is like one of the biggest things. Who you letting around you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just going for people. That's going for the type of music you listening to. That's around you. That's going for the type of TV shows you watching. That's around you. That goes for the type of YouTube videos and Instagram videos and TikTok videos that's around you,
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
you know. So changing your whole environment, if you used to watch, you know, sex, money, drug videos all the time,
Right.
change that.
Change it.
And you're changing your environment. It's going to open you up to new things. It's going to start to condition you for new things. Repetition and conditioning, it don't care. It does not care. You can use repetition and conditioning to your detriment, or you can use repetition and conditioning to your empowerment. It's the same tool. It's just what you choose to use it for, based on, the choices that you make. So changing your environment is the biggest key, I would say, when it comes to helping Black men and just people in general, is changing their environment.
Hey, that's I agree with you on that because I spent some time myself in prison, and and it was just horrible. The food was horrible. My living conditions was horrible. The people was horrible. Everything was horrible. To the air, to the water, to everything. And one thing that helped me escape was reading. And after I read so much, it actually came back to me because I've always liked to write. So I would write and I would read, and
Mm-hmm.
I would start late at night, and before I knew it, it'd be morning time, and I'm like, man, the night passed by so fast, and but that was my escape. So
Yep.
I agree with you totally on that. And then when you're doing that, like you say, that repetition, and then that subconscious mind, so you kind of filtering out all this negativity and
Mm-hmm.
pouring in a bunch of positivity, and you getting to
Yep.
think about it, because it actually gives you patience to be able
Mm-hmm.
to read. So you'll have more time to think and think positive. So I think that was a good one. I think that was a good point too.
Yep. Light cast out darkness.
Right. Exactly. And lastly, as far as the questions, it's kind of a two-part question. I want to
Okay.
ask you now, what would be some steps that us as Black men can do to help kind of
Okay.
aid the situation, slash what could some of these parents do to help aid the situation?
So, as parents and as Black men, when it comes to our children, you know, um, two of the things for men is to protect and provide.
Mm,
And I think sometimes we miss some of the protection. So we
mm,
protect them from physical harm, but we don't protect them a lot of times from mental harm.
right.
And so, and in order to do that, you got to monitor what they listening to, what they watching, who they hanging around. And so I think those things as parents will go a long way, and I'm naming these things off, but I made mistakes on all of them.
And that's why you got the best answer. You know what I'm saying? These are the best answers I got since I've been started this little campaign. So wow, and I'm writing them all down.
And
That was great.
on the Black men side, um, just really getting at it to help our people, helping other brothers, and helping young men. We all have a sphere of influence, and you know you can't help everybody.
Right.
You got to work with the willing. So you got to look at what young men are in your sphere of influence, and that's the first place you should go.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. So when you go to these other brothers, you go to these other young men, it's not about you. It's not about the way that you think you should shape and mold them, you know, you got to see what, you know, it's that Biggie Smalls line, you know.
Right.
What do you say? We're going to see what you interested in.
Yeah.
That
What's your interest?
that's the start of the conversation is what do you want?
Right.
You know, and if you can start right there, they're going to give you the blueprint on how to reel them in
Right.
because everything is going to be wrapped around what they want. And that's the same thing that I do at the school is, you know, I know, you know, a lot of them, they want to get money. So that's what I'm going to talk about is getting money,
Right.
you know, and how do we bring those two together? You know, how do we bring get money together with your education?
Right.
You know, um, how, you know, that becomes real crucial. So I'm trying to see what your interests are. And then after I see what your interests are, I'm trying to see how I can help you get there. And that's so crucial, you know, being able to show them and help them get to where they want to go. Then you got buy-in because it's their dream, it's their goal, it's their desire. It's something that they want. It ain't something that you want. So they're gonna be more motivated to do it because it's their interest, not yours.
Right. Right. I
You know,
totally agree with that. You know,
and so that's the way that I try to deal with it. And then I understand that, you know, there's other things that's going to influence you besides just me. And so I'm going to see how I can reel that in. And that's
right.
kind of the whole concept with Brothers Helping Brothers is I started to reel in my son's friends.
Right.
You know,
Right.
now, you know, I do inspirational messages, but my inspirational messages, they come 3 to 5 times a month at the most, and they come sporadically. So you
Right.
ain't expecting it. I'm not bugging you.
Right.
And it's designed to hit you at that right moment. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But
Right.
it also builds up my influence with you so that, you know, now my friend, my son is hanging with his friend, and his friend, you know, I got his friend's ear.
Mm.
So now I can influence not only my son, but I can influence my son's friend. You
Mm.
know, I'm a preacher's kid, right? And
Right.
so, you know, you go into the four walls of the church and, you know, it's rah, rah, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. But then you
Hmm.
get outside of the church and, you know, you can't find it.
Right.
You know, you gotta go outside the four walls of your house,
Mm.
you know, and
Mm.
if you can influence your your kids' friends,
Right.
your kids' friends gonna influence your kids.
Right. Right. You right. You right. And I
So
think that's a
you,
great
you
strategy. You know, I always tell them, you know, I try to do the same, you know, find their interest. And then I also, you know, sometimes you gotta stroke a person's ego sometimes, you know, and not in a bad way, you know, not to
yeah,
be manipulative or nothing like that, you know, just to let a person know, like, hey, it's not all about me, you know, or I'm not trying to use you, man. Hey, what you want to do today? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Or what's bothering you, or what can I help you with? You know, that's always
right.
a good way to gain someone's trust. And then once you gain that trust, you'll know more because they'll tell
Yep,
you more because they trust you. So, man,
yep.
another great
It,
point.
and that's great what you said about ego. So sometimes people get this ego thing jacked up. It's not bad to have an ego.
Right.
Matter of fact, in order to do anything great, even you know, when you look at, you know, how you transformed yourself,
Yes.
you wouldn't have been able to do it without an ego
Right. I
because
agree.
you actually have to puff up.
Right. Yeah, you do. You do.
And so an ego is not bad, you know, and I don't want nobody to walk away and think that, you know, they gotta, you know, flatten their ego. An ego is not necessarily bad, you know. What you apply it to can make it bad, you know. The limits that you go with it can make it bad. But if you want to accomplish anything of relevance, you need an ego.
Right. I agree.
So I'm not trying to kill your ego. I want you to have your ego. I'm just trying to redirect it.
Balance
And
it
that
out
kind
a
of
little
brings me
bit, you
to,
know?
yeah, that
Right.
kind of brings me to one other thing, you know, um, we all go through some things.
Mm-hmm.
And so we must learn how to take our pain and turn it into lighter fluid.
Right. Right. You know,
You know,
you gotta turn your caterpillar into a butterfly. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So when you experience these tough times, or you know, when you know somebody or something hurts you, that's got to be that's got to amp you up to go harder. You know,
Right.
and so and that's just how you look at it. You know, nah, I'm about to come with it harder now. You
Right.
know,
Right. And I feel so many times, you know, I get down, but I mean, my ego's crazy, you know, but it was on the left side before, you know what I mean? So I fall down, but and I get down and I complain for like that night, but the next day I'm up earlier and I put more time and more effort than I did the last day because obviously I failed that last day. I'm not failing today. You know what I'm saying? I
right?
study my loss. I turn my loss into a lesson so I can win. You know what I mean?
That's
So
good.
yes, sir.
That's
Yes, sir.
good.
Um, I know you ain't got too much time. I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I it just from our conversation earlier, it was
Hmm.
such a great conversation that I said, you know, I want to get you on the panel because I feel like it touched me. So I wanted you to speak so, you know, other people can get your perspective. So I appreciate you for being here. You know, I know you got other engagements, but before you go, I want you to, you know, let the people know, um, you know, if it's something you got coming up next with Brothers Helping Brothers, any way that anyone can support, or anything you want to let them know as far as reaching out to you, anything
Okay.
that's gonna help your cause and your campaign.
Thank you so much for that. For me, you know, our motto is simple. You know, whether you, I would definitely say, you know, look us up on Facebook, you know, so that you can follow us or this. It's going to be red and black like this, red, white, and black.
Yes.
Brothers helping brothers. So definitely, you know, come follow us, come participate. But even if you don't, you know, the main thing that I would like you to walk away with is our tagline, our motto. Brothers helping brothers simply means one brother, and that brother could be you.
Hmm.
One brother helping another brother along the way.
That's beautiful.
You know, Dr. King said, you know, if I can help somebody along the way, if I can help a brother with a word or a song, or if I can tell a brother, you know, that he might be traveling wrong,
Right.
if I can just help somebody along the way. And that's what I want you to leave here with. Whether you join Brothers Helping Brothers, you know, we'd love to have you. But if you don't, just remember, help another brother along the way. Um, we do a weekly podcast on Thursdays. So we'll have one coming up this Thursday. We'll be interviewing somebody. We usually interview somebody within the group. So we'll be doing that inside the group. Um, but you got to be a part of the group to watch the interview, because it's a private group. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Next year we're looking to expand and start actually doing events, and we're also looking for other people that want to start setting up, a chapter, if you will, of Brothers Helping Brothers in their area, where they do the same things within their communities. Start with your nephews, start with your sons,
Right.
start with their friends, and then expand it out. That's how we, reach more and make it more personal. You start with your own people. And so,
I agree. I agree. You got to start at your own house before you go next door, man. I really agree. You know, and
yeah,
once again, I can't thank you enough. Just connecting with you today kind of confirmed to me that I'm on the right path because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not gonna lie to you.
oh, you doing some great things, bro.
I don't have a
You doing some
plan.
great things. This violence, this violence, it really has to stop. And anything that we do is always amplified.
Right.
When you actually look at the statistics, um, in white communities and Asian communities and Hispanic communities, it's white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime,
Hmm.
Asian on Asian crime. What it usually comes down to is proximity.
Right.
People hurt the people that's closest to them. And
For
that's
some
kind of
reason,
jacked up.
just kind of
But
how it is. You're right.
everything, yep, that's how it is. But everything that we do as a people, you know, light is shed on it. And
I heard a
so,
saying. They say you kill where you live.
yeah,
Yep.
yep. And
Mhm.
so we have to do better to bring, that percentage down of, the black on black crime. But, on the same token, it's not just us. This is in a sense, a normal human thing.
Right.
That's where you live at. That's where the crime and the violence is going to take place. You know, but we have to do better at that. And so I appreciate this conversation, um, and hopefully, we can start conditioning our youth to do something different.
Yes.
So that they don't, have that in their mind. But in between that music and like you said, the drugs, it really lets the wrong mentality get into the minds of a lot of our youth, to
Hmm.
where, it makes those things possible and probable, if they get in that situation, you
Right.
know, where they would commit those acts. And so, um, if all of us get together and just start reaching the ones that we can reach,
Hmm.
we'll make a world of difference.
I agree with you. That was powerful. I appreciate you, Coach Wilson. Um, yeah, I definitely like to, stay connected. I like to build. And like I said, if there's anything that I can do on my end, even if you just come up with any type of ideas, anything like that, feel free to reach out. I'm never too busy when it comes to this work. So keep that in mind. And,
Yes, sir.
if there's anything else you would like to add, feel free.
Um, let's see. That's pretty much it, man. All I can do is just thank you for having me, man, and you know, extend the same offer to you. If it's anything that I can do to help you, I'm definitely gonna do that. And again, I'm so thankful to be on this show, and I hope for your audience. I hope that I reach somebody. My handle on most social media is the Coach Wilson. That's TheCoachWilson. You'll find me on Facebook like that. You'll find me on YouTube like that. You'll find me on Instagram like that. So, you know, if you want to follow me, more than willing to do that at that handle. But yeah, if we can just keep helping each other and helping people along the way, I think we'll have accomplished a lot.
Yes, sir. I totally agree. And once again, thanks. We can talk a couple minutes more, you know, after the show.
Okay.
Um, but you know, we thank you so much, guys. Please tap in with Coach Wilson. You know, please check out Brothers Helping Brothers. They doing some great things over there. And they may be able to help you out with some things you're going through. You might be able to help us. Thanks again. Until next time, peace and love.
Bye for now.
Yes, sir. Okay.